The people getting ahead in 2026 won't make more money than you. They'll make the same 5 decisions you won't. Not because they're smarter, because they understand something about their own brain that you don't. Let me show you what I mean. 1. Start with $50. Today, don't wait for perfect. Most people spend years researching the perfect investment strategy. Index funds versus ETFs, growth versus dividend, Vanguard versus Fidelity. 3 years later, they're still researching. Meanwhile, the person who invested $50 in a boring total market fund 3 years ago is ahead, even though they never optimized. Here's the math. $50 invested today at 10% for 30 years equals $872. $5,000 invested in year 3 after perfecting the strategy at 10% for 27 years equals $6,590. The person who waited 3 years to invest the right amount has to invest 100 times more just to catch up with the 3-year head start. The mechanism. Waiting for perfect kills compound time, and compound time is the only thing that actually matters. You don't need the perfect fund. You need time in the market. $50 today beats $5,000 in 3 years. Not because $50 is enough, because starting breaks analysis paralysis. The person still researching in year 3 will keep researching. They always find one more thing to optimize. The person who started with $50, they're already investing. They learned by doing. Here's the move. This week, open a brokerage account. Invest $50 in a total market index fund. Not $1,000. Not when you're ready. $50. Now. The amount doesn't matter. The 3-year head start does. 2. Pre-commit to the raise freeze before you get it. Here's what happens the second you get a raise. Your brain immediately recalibrates who you are. You were a $45,000 person. Now you're a $50,000 person. And $50,000 people don't live in $900 apartments. They don't drive 12-year-old cars. They don't skip dinners with coworkers. The identity shifts before the money hits your account. That's why lifestyle inflation is instant. You didn't consciously decide to upgrade. Your brain decided for you, based on the new identity. By the time the first bigger paycheck deposits, you've already mentally spent it. The mechanism. Identity recalibrates faster than money arrives. The traditional advice, just don't upgrade, fails because it fights your new identity. The $50,000 person doesn't want to live like the $45,000 person anymore. Here's the move that actually works. Pre-commit to the freeze before you get the raise. When you're still the $45,000 person thinking clearly. Decide. The raise goes 100% to investments for 2 years. Set up the automatic transfer the day before the raise hits. Then, after 2 years, upgrade if you want. But most people don't, because by then, watching the investment account grow feels better than upgrading. A $5,000 raise invested for 2 years equals $10,500. In 30 years at 10%, that's $183,000. The person who upgraded their apartment immediately? They paid an extra $400 per month for 2 years. Got nothing permanent. The difference isn't discipline. It's pre-commitment before your identity shifts. 3. Automate before present you negotiates. Your brain values $100 today about 3 times more than $100 next year. That's not a character flaw. That's neuroscience. It's called temporal discounting. Your brain literally can't weigh future pain as heavily as present pleasure. So when you see a $200 purchase, present you sees, I want this now. Future you sees, that's $520 I won't have in 10 years at 10% returns. But future you doesn't get a vote. Present you controls the wallet. And present you doesn't care about future you. Not because you're selfish, because your brain is wired to discount delayed rewards. The mechanism. Your brain can't value the future equally. The traditional advice, just think long-term, fails because it asks your brain to do something it's not wired to do. Here's the move that actually works. Set up automatic transfers to investments the day your paycheck hits, before present you sees the money. Because once present you sees it, the negotiation is over. I'll invest next month. I need this purchase more. I'll catch up later. Future you already lost. Automation removes present you from the decision entirely. The money moves before present you has a chance to negotiate. That's not discipline. That's removing the choice. 4. Switch status games. Don't opt out. You can't opt out of status. Humans need it. But you can choose which status game to play. Most people play the consumption game. Who has the nicer car? Who lives in the better neighborhood? Who wears which brands? This game costs $800 to $1,200 per month, and it never ends. Because the baseline keeps rising. People who get ahead play the freedom game. Who can quit their job first? Who controls their own time? Who doesn't need their paycheck? Both are status. One costs $1,200 per month and keeps you broke. One costs $0 per month and builds wealth. The mechanism. Status is inevitable. The game you choose determines whether status costs money or builds it. When your status comes from consumption, every dollar you save feels like losing status. When your status comes from freedom, every dollar you save builds status. Here's the move. Pick one category of consumption status spending: car, apartment, wardrobe, social. Cut it by 50%. Redirect that money to investments. To everyone else, nothing looks different. But internally, you just switched games. You're no longer playing who looks successful. You're playing who's closest to financial independence. Over 10 years, that switch is worth $100,000 plus. 5. Create feedback loops. Make progress visible. Your brain learns from feedback. Buy coffee, then dopamine now. Pay for car to transportation today. Skip the gym to relief immediately. The reward is instant. But invest $200, nothing happens. Check tomorrow, still nothing. Check next week, still nothing. Check next month, up $3. Your brain learns. Investing equals no reward. That's why people quit long-term strategies. Not because they don't work, because the feedback is delayed. The mechanism. Your brain needs immediate feedback to stay motivated. Without visible progress, your brain assumes nothing's working, and you quit. Here's the move. Track your net worth weekly. Not to obsess, to create visible feedback. Week 1, $5,200. Week 2, $5,450. Week 3, $5,680. Your brain sees, this is working. That $200 investment that felt like nothing, now it's visible progress. Your brain gets the reward it needs to keep going. Without feedback loops, long-term thinking dies. Make the invisible visible. Your brain will stay in the game. Final thought. These 5 moves aren't about making more money. They're about understanding how your brain sabotages you and designing around it. Break analysis paralysis. Pre-commit before identity shifts. Automate before present you negotiates. Switch status games. Create feedback loops. Most people won't do any of these, not because they're hard, because they require admitting your brain works against you. But the people who get ahead, they don't fight their wiring. They design systems that account for it. That's the difference. Not discipline, not income. Systems that survive your own brain. If you want money advice for people willing to work with their psychology instead of against it, that's what this channel is for. Let me know which of these 5 you're committing to.